Clear my throat first.
Welcome, everybody, back to Hempin Happiness. We are calling this season 2, episode 1. And I have Cannabeth with me now, which is
Yes.
phenomenal. I don't know if you know Cannabeth, which you should if you don't, and you've actually been in the 502 Hemp store. She is our store manager, and she does an excellent job at educating and helping people feel better with our natural products. So definitely stop in and see her sometime. She's usually here from Tuesday through Friday. Every now and again, she gets stuck working a weekend because she lets me
Those
have the time
events. I
off.
do those events too.
So
So,
welcome,
yeah.
welcome, Miss Beth. I'm happy to have you.
Thank you. I'm happy to be co hosting this new season. My name is really Beth Panati.
Mhm.
I was called Cannabeth from a former employee and it kind of stuck, but I just feel that I can help you find the right cannabis product. So we'll keep that name for right now. I
I
like
think you
it.
should.
I think so.
I think it suits your personality
Thank
perfectly.
you.
So today we have so many things in the pipe drive, and my gosh, people, there's so much legislation out there too about what's coming down in Kentucky, and we are going to get into all that. I promise, because of course, I'm involved some way somehow. But today we kind of wanted to focus on cannabis and exercise. I have been hitting the gym hard pretty much
She
since
has.
November. I've only since January 1st, though, I've only missed 3 days at the gym. That's because I was on a little vacation with my brother. But I also still exercised most of those days. So I've really been hitting it hard. But the one thing I noticed, and I lift, so I also lift weights, but the one thing that I noticed is I don't feel the pain nearly as much as I did prior to. And I used to work out a lot back in 16 and 17, lifting, and I was always in pain. And I didn't use cannabis as much as I do
Mhm.
now. But that's been a big difference for me. And you know what? If you're not in pain, I still want to get up and go. Does that make sense?
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, because if you recover quicker, you're ready to hit it back quicker. If you have to recover for 3 days, it kind of gets you out of your regular routine.
It
So
does. And
that
I alternate. So one day I'll do legs, the next day I'll do arms. And I kind of alternate between the two. And then some days I'll even just do just a cardio day. Like yesterday, I was not feeling weightlifting. I just wasn't. And I should have because the gym was about empty, but that's beside the point.
but you
So
need to listen to your
you
body
do.
and not who's at the gym or how crowded it is. What works for you?
That's right.
Yeah.
But there's a recent study that was conducted in Colorado, mind you, and it talks about how THC has a much more positive effect on the body when you're exercising.
Right.
And I thought it was a great article. I believe we shared it in one of our emails, but just kind of wanted to share it again because it's worth saying. Most people that are all into the healthy stuff, they don't consider cannabis as part of their healthy regimen. You know what I mean? A lot of people will just use it, to feel fun on the weekends, but it can be used daily in your diet. I mean, as part of your healthy regimen.
Right. Yeah. And this study I thought was interesting. They found that people who use cannabis were more likely to exercise. So that gets rid of that lazy stoner kind of, the way people think about people who use cannabis, and that it makes exercise more enjoyable while they're doing this
Hmm.
and the recovery time
I think
as
the
well.
recovery time's huge, but I never believed that freaking stigma about lazy
Lazy
stoners.
stoners?
Yeah, I
No,
know
because
way too many stoners, and none of them are
no,
lazy. Not at
no.
all. Not
It,
at all. You're not.
and I also found, yeah, I will say I'm a stoner. That's fine. I will accept that. But and most people that I know that use cannabis regularly are not overweight,
Mm-mm.
so that is another myth that we need to dispel as well, that it gives you the munchies and I'm going to eat all night, that kind of
I
thing.
did not get this big because of cannabis, y'all.
No.
Mine was more of an emotional eating, and I used it to get through my teenage years, and it just kind of stuck with me.
Mhm.
Therapy helps with that. Let me just tell you, therapy. But
Yes.
no, I don't believe that. I mean, don't get me wrong. If I take too much of something, I may get the munchies, but I also don't have a lot of bad stuff at my house to munch on.
Right. Don't have it there and you
Exactly.
won't eat it.
So I
Yeah.
got carrots and hummus and celery and things like that, or cereal. I mean, and I buy the organic, low sugar cereal type stuff anyway. So if I do get the munchies, usually what I do is I just take it and go to bed. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's what
Because,
a lot of
yeah,
people do.
I just take it
Exactly.
and go to bed. Because one, it helps me sleep.
Mhm.
And if you don't know this, you should. Everyone recovers better when you get good night of sleep.
My gosh, and nobody is sleeping. So that's a
Mm-mm.
number one thing we need to talk about with wellness
Mm-hmm.
is if you're not getting that correct amount of sleep, it affects everything.
Everything. It even increases your anxiety. And then it's
Yes.
like you're battling yourself. Like, do I do this? Do I do that? Do I do this? And you're battling, your whole body's battling. If you're not getting that rest and the sleep that you need, the REM sleep, mind
Mhm.
you, it's just super important. I think the one thing that most people that I hear people tell me is like, oh my gosh, I'm having some vivid dreams. Good.
Yeah,
You
that means
should
you're in deep
be.
sleep.
Yeah, it means you're
Exactly.
actually hitting your REM and you need that. Your body needs that. That's when it does most of its healing. So I think that
Exactly.
is so, so important. And we forget about that a lot because, you get in your routine and you got to do this and you got to do that. So you're staying up late and then you're thinking about it, laying there in bed, and then you're losing even more sleep. And I mean, we won't even talk about the blue screens and your phone and all the scrolling that we do right before bed. They've proven that it is not good for you. So I mean, it's important to take care of yourself and your body and to know what your body needs. And cannabis helps.
And there
And
was actually a recent study that found people that had COVID had more trouble sleeping after COVID. Um,
I can see that. Yeah, I can see
so
that.
it's changed our bodies in ways we don't even know that we're.
Yeah, because COVID is back again, full force. I
Mhm.
don't think it's ever going to leave, truly, but there's been even more research on that, how cannabis helps with the symptoms of COVID and how it can even block
The
the
receptors in your
receptors,
lungs.
yes, from actually
Mhm.
getting that god awful COVID. You're still going to get it, but the symptoms are going to be so much more milder. And I'm not trying to make a claim, I'm really not.
Mhm.
Do the
Do the
research.
research,
There's
it's
a
out there.
this stuff is not snake oil,
No,
right?
no,
And
no.
you know why? It's because of our endocannabinoid system. I've talked about that so many times on this podcast
Mhm.
prior to, but it is so important for people to understand that we all have an endocannabinoid system. And if you are not fueling your endocannabinoid system, then you're not getting the benefits and you're not at your homeostasis. You're not at your best, I guess, to put it mildly. So the
Exactly.
cannabinoids in the hemp plant and the marijuana plant, they're the same cannabinoids. They're the same plant. We've talked about that before too, y'all.
Mhm.
Um, but the cannabinoids in that plant, it benefits your body. Now, whether you're using THC or CBD or CBG or CBN, all of those cannabinoids benefit your body. I think that's just the most important thing to know.
And I think that's the thing. I mean, no matter how much we talk about the endocannabinoid system, a lot of people still don't know that they have that inside them. I have a background in nursing. I was never taught about that in nursing school. And, the endocannabinoid system was not discovered until the early 1990s,
Mhm.
and
Supposedly.
right, right. But, to where they could find those
Mhm.
receptors and, figure out what they did. Um, so that's something we need to continue to educate people on because they just, no matter how many times we talk about it, it still confuses
It
people
does.
as to what it does. And it actually works in the neurons within the synapses to help those your neurons communicate better. It can help you know, reconnect those synapses that may have been broken. And so it's working in teeny tiny ways.
Hmm.
And another thing is that people view CBD as maybe taken occasionally, and it's really more of a supplement. You
Yes,
need to use it a little bit every day,
every day.
because you can't just take vitamin D or vitamin B. You might feel good for one day,
Hmm.
but then the next day it's going to be
Yeah,
all out of your
you
system.
have to think of CBD like you have to think of it like a vitamin, and you have to take it daily. It works best if you take it daily. So I think that is super important for consumers to be aware of. And
Right.
obviously, I mean, without us even getting into all of it, I mean, know your source, know how
Oh,
it's made, make sure it's tested. We've said that time and time and time again. A lot of people, they may put their certificates of analysis up on their website, and some don't, but even
mhm.
the ones that do, they're only putting the milligrams. You do need to look for that full panel. 9 times out of 10, because it is so expensive to test that final product, what people will do, what the labs will do and the processors will do, they will do the full panel of the actual distillate. And then they will test the milligrams once the gummy's been made. I mean, you're not going to get heavy metals or yeah,
Mycotoxins.
that in
Mhm.
the gummy from the distillate, right? So 9 times out of 10, people are just testing the milligrams, and that's actually a new rule in Kentucky for all CBD products and adult use cannabinoids that you have to have. You have to have that initial full panel, and a lot of people don't have that on their site. We do. We actually do. We test that from our Murray extracts. We test that for our CBD products. We test that for RD's products as well. And I just think that is super important. And um, it is very expensive to have the full panel done. It's about, I think, about a $500 test. So if you were to do that for every SKU, oh my goodness, talk about some price there. So if you do it for the distillate, at least you know going into it that that is a safe product that you're making products from. So
Exactly.
that's important. That's super important.
Right. And a lot of people don't realize that a lot of CBD is made with hemp imported from China, which has a lot of heavy metals in it. And CBD, or cannabis products weren't required to be tested
For a
until
long
now.
time.
We did that, just to prove that we had a safe, effective product.
Hmm.
So if you've used CBD in the past, you may not have gotten good CBD or even a product that had any CBD in it.
Yeah, especially if you say, "Oh, I tried it and it didn't work for me." We
Right.
hear that a lot. They're
We
like, "Well,
do.
what brand did you try?
Mhm.
What milligram did you try?" I mean, and there's the three different methods you can extract with too. And I'm just not a fan of the hydrocarbon extraction. I'm not. That starts with a carcinogen. I just don't, even if it burns off in the process, I just have a hard time putting something that has been made with butane into my body, even if it's supposedly not there anymore and they do the testing after. I have a hard time with that. Now, my husband will disagree. I mean, he does the CO2 extraction, but he says there's nothing wrong with the butane extraction as long as it's lab quality and it's the actual really good. And they do apparently make some foods out of it. Um, I don't believe it's generally recognized as safe from the FDA. Maybe in other countries, I don't know. And I'm not even getting into all that because I don't know and I don't care. I just know that I don't want something that starts being made from butane in my body.
Mhm.
I don't. So I don't carry any of those products. And I've had very heated conversations with other people that make their products that way. And I'm just like, I'm sorry. I'm not going to do it. So we use the CO2 extraction. It's the safest, healthiest, cleanest. Now, CO2 is everywhere, it's all in our environment and everything. So I just truly believe that that's just the way to do it. But
I
the
agree.
best thing to do is to make sure there's testing. That's the most important thing. So,
Exactly. Exactly.
and use it daily.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, talking about wellness and the kind of the way I look at wellness is, putting things in your toolbox.
Mhm.
CBD alone is not going to change your life. It has maybe changed some. We do hear that a lot. You've changed
Hmm.
my life. But there are so many other things that you can do um, to add to that.
Oh, for sure.
Exercise, number
Hmm.
one.
And eating healthy.
Eating healthy, yeah. I don't know. Number one, number two, both of those. So I kind of I wanted to share some things that I've included in my wellness toolbox. I try things for about 30 days,
Hmm.
see how that makes me feel. Otherwise, I'm not going to invest the time and money into doing that.
That makes sense.
So, some things, CBD is the number one thing
Hmm.
that really changed my quality of life as far as anxiety, depression.
That's why you're still with me, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, I can deal with you better.
That
No.
30 days turned into 4.5, almost
Right, 4.5
5 years.
years. Exactly. And things like water fasting, I found intermittent water fasting, not intaking as much food, helped me lose 70 pounds. So that was something that I decided to keep in my wellness toolbox. Yeah, food as medicine is a big one. Hot yoga is a big thing for me. Reiki and energy healing, limiting social media time, taking a day of rest
Mm.
where you don't do anything that includes laundry, cooking, sit around on your butt, binge watch some Netflix and eat some carbs.
I'm just going to tell you
Do
that
that.
that is really hard for me.
It is
It
hard.
is
You have to
really, really
practice
hard for me.
sitting there
Hmm.
and saying no all day.
And not do
But
anything.
yeah, you can do it. And I try to do that once every 2 weeks or so.
Yeah.
Because after that, I feel amazing. I
I
can
can do it
go.
if the husband is at home.
I know. Well, no, you can just tune them out. Um, and making time to play and socialize, things like that. So those are things that I've used over the past few years that I keep in my wellness toolbox.
Those are great
Yeah.
tools. Those are
And
great tools.
we'll
Hmm.
talk about some things that we're going to try out this year to
Yes.
add to our wellness
Hmm.
toolbox, see what we want to keep, what doesn't work.
What works and doesn't work. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
What do you keep in your wellness
Well,
toolbox?
I definitely keep the gym, obviously, lifting and cardio. I know people say you shouldn't do cardio. I enjoy it. And you want to know why I enjoy it? I read. I read my book.
Why shouldn't you do cardio?
Oh, most people say that you don't that it's more stressful on your body doing cardio and it produces the cortisol. Or I mean, if it does, I still feel like I get
I think
benefit
you
from it.
need it.
So
Yeah,
most
I
people
agree.
say just lift weights to lose weight. Well, I still think you need some
Yeah.
cardio, and I
Well,
still see people doing cardio. Maybe not as much, like maybe 20 minutes or so. But if I'm just doing a cardio day, I do about an hour and I enjoy it. I read my book.
right.
I finished the Outlander series in that book and that doing
That's
cardio, and that was
awesome.
9 freaking long books, but it's a
Mhm.
great series anyway. But I enjoy reading, so to me that is like my it's like my little reward for doing the cardio, and
Right.
I really don't have time to read for entertainment purposes any other time.
Right.
I mean, I'm enlightening myself on the latest cannabis thing, or fighting
Mhm.
with politicians
Yes.
to keep stuff legal. So there's other things that I'm doing as far as work goes. So when I go do cardio, even if it's just my little warm up, because I usually do a
Mhm.
20-minute warm up, I'm reading.
Yeah.
So, and I
Yeah.
enjoy it. So I think that's a great tool to have,
That
doing something you
is.
love and you actually look forward to.
Yeah.
And so I think that's good. But I also I do yoga sometimes.
Mhm.
I have not been as religious about it as I used to be. If I cannot get to the gym, I still try to make time for yoga. So
Mhm.
it's one or the
Mhm.
other. Yoga is phenomenal. It gets you
Yeah.
out of your head too. And then I do I like my shows. I mean, those are
No, I
some
know.
downtime.
I
There's
know.
certain shows that I just absolutely love, and John watches his own stuff and I watch
Mhm.
my own stuff, but we're
Mhm.
just sitting there chilling. So I think meal prepping is important. Usually
Oh, yes.
yeah, that's huge. Sometimes I'll go to Clean Eats, and if you haven't heard of Clean Eats in the Louisville area, they've got phenomenal food.
I know. And you can do a meal plan, or you can
Hmm.
just walk in and pick things out of their
Hmm.
freezer, put it in your freezer, and you always have
something
that.
healthy.
And I found it's cheaper than
It
fast
Oh my
food.
god, it's way cheaper than fast
Oh
food.
my
Way
goodness.
cheaper, way cheaper. And they have pastas. And you
Yes.
when you think you're trying to lose weight, you don't eat pasta. Are you kidding me? If you eat it correctly and you combat with the carbs as far as protein and fats and
Mhm.
all that, you can have pasta. You
Yes,
can have
yes,
pasta.
yes.
And their pasta's
You're
good.
burning that off. You can't eat pasta
Uh,
nonstop.
right.
You're not going to be able to burn off all those
But your
carbs.
body needs carbs. Your body needs
Yes, that's
all of that stuff, a
instant
balance.
energy.
And yep, exactly.
So,
So
but you got
clean's
to be
his thing.
moving.
You do.
You got to keep
Last night I
moving.
prepped a whole bunch of salads because
Yeah.
I usually get the little ones from Kroger that are already made, but
Yeah.
they I don't know why they just didn't interest me. So I made my own last night and I made some potato and broccoli soup. I mean, potatoes are good carbs. They're a veggie
Yes.
and they're good carbs. So
Yes.
um
It's natural food.
yep.
I say stay away from the processed
Oh, for
foods
sure.
that are high in carbs because it's just full of chemicals.
Hmm.
You don't know what that is. Your body doesn't know how to break that stuff down.
Yep. And that's the same with cannabis products too. You need to be as natural as possible with that as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. So while we do have some flavorings, they're all natural flavorings, and we use the MCT coconut oil, which is more of a healthy fat
Mhm.
because your body does have a hard time absorbing CBD products in general. So having that coconut oil in there helps your body absorb it. And putting it under your tongue first gets that sublingual effect. And you can do that with gummies too, Just chew on it
Right.
a little bit and put it under your tongue, let them sit there a little. That's what I do.
Mhm.
It seems to bring on the effects a little bit quicker. So I think that's pretty important. I don't know. I think there's so many tools in our toolbox that we can use, and cannabis is just one of them. And
Exactly.
it's healthy. It's a healthy choice. So
Yes.
I think it's a good thing. And I think just keep going. It's February now. I know a lot of people are like, I'm done trying to work out and lose weight. No, just keep going. And don't think of it about as losing weight. Think of it about as getting healthy.
Getting healthy.
And
That's
yes,
exactly it.
and that's what I've done to change my mindset. I mean, since I started this business, oh my God, I've gained so much weight, but it's a lot of stress.
Yes.
And I
You've been
find,
too busy taking care of
yep,
everybody else and you
yep,
forgot a little self
I
care for
did.
Dee Dee.
I
So
did. And
we're
so
getting back to
we
that.
are. I mean, I haven't been here nearly as much as I was. And with Beth being on
Yeah.
board and being the manager, I just kind of leave a lot to her. To do some of that stuff that I was always doing. So when people be like, "When are you working?" I'm like, "That's here.
I
That's
know.
here. You
I've
can see
got
Beth
this.
or
I've got
Danielle
this.
or Daniel or Jody or Laura. You can see any of
Exactly.
those. And then over at 812, Jared's there,
Yeah.
So we got a great team, and it's not just all about me anymore. It's about the team. So
Yeah.
I'm blessed to have them. I'll say that over and over and over again.
Mhm.
So
Well, and that's giving you more time to, fight these lawmakers that you do. And,
yeah,
you're part of the Hemp
I
Association
am.
on
I'm
the
on the
on the
board.
board.
Hmm.
So those things, we need you to do those things so we
Yeah.
can spread that on to our
We
customers.
do. So, I mean, we've got tons of things in the pipeline for 2024 and 25, and a lot of things that people just aren't aware of. And we'll cover that more in our next podcast. We're leaving this one to the health and wellness side of things. But as far as the legal stuff and all that good stuff, make sure you listen to us and follow us. Did you have any more to add, Beth, about?
No, I
Is that
just,
it?
want everybody to find things that help in 2024 with their self care. That's the best thing that we can do.